want to welcome you to this lovely Friday edition of Viewpoint, right here on Atlantic TV. My name is Michael Babadia. You do know on Atlantic TV Viewpoint, we tend to indeed make your morning truly enjoyable, and today will be no different.
Yes, thank God it's Friday. You know how I'm always excited about Friday. And the truth is, I don't even know why I'm always excited about Friday, but I just know that I am always happy when it comes to Friday. Yes, my name is Mercy Erabo. And today, you don't want to miss any of our discussions today because I have loads of gist for you on the trending, so you don't want to miss any of it. But before we go into the dailies, let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll go into the dailies.
Well, straight to the dailies we go today on. We have 5 papers as usual. We have the Punch, the Guardian, the Vanguard, the Nation, and the Leadership. All will be making a major stand on the dailies this morning. But you do know we always enjoy starting with the Punch, and on the Punch newspaper this morning, the leading story reads: Tariff war, federal government intervenes as states and discos reef deepen. And let's see if we dip further into it. National Electric, or NERC rather, summons meeting between state energy commissioners and discos operators. And I just implore you to continue that story on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. Well, let's see if we can also get some other majors, especially as it concerns the dailies this morning. And the top mass of the Punch this morning. Let's see if we get some major ones there. And long-term neglect hindering refineries revamp, as according to the NNPC. And honestly, you can get that story on page 28 as NEC unveils a road map for $1 trillion economy in 2030. And page 40 has that story. Federal government also clash over 2021 agreement is more of a disagreement on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And federal government defends passport price hike to 100,000 naira and that of 200,000 naira. But anyway, just read up that story on page 30. Let's see if we take other leading stories, just the midpoint of the Punch newspaper. Motorists lament slow Shagamu-Ijebu-Ode road repairs is on page 40. And awaiting trial inmates feeding gap of 14 billion naira in 8 months. Woo! And that's a whooping one, but you can get more of that story on page 39. Federal government eyes 21% GDP boost with e-governance bill is a screamer on page 28. And how 8,000 dispute led to Lagos market killing of that's according to a trader. And that very disturbing story you can get on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. And on page 2, INEC pushes back as opposition rejects Southwest voter figure. And like I said, get that story on page 2. But the picture of the day is that of a beverage company in Nigeria, as it's more of a promotion. And we're talking about back to school. And you can see how much of that was played out yesterday in Lagos. That's the much you can take from the Punch newspaper.
All right, let's go to the Nation. The major story here reads, Ojulari NNPCL lost $500 million monthly to refineries operation. And the writer to the story says, oil giants will adopt private partnership to ensure sustainable profitability. Well, that story is on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Let's see if we have more stories here just At the top of the main story, DSS files charges against 9 suspects over killings in Benue, Plateau State. And that's on page 6 of the paper. Let's go to the top mass. Okay, before the top mass, I can see a government panel to review post 2009 agreements with ASU. And the writer to the story reads, Polytechnic workers serve strike notice. That's a bloody story, though it's on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Let's go to the top mass of the paper. PDP wooing Obi with 2027 tickets, says Bala. The writer to the story says Secondo's active again in party. Well, that story is on page 3 of the paper. NEC OK's 4-year medium-term development plan. That's on page 2 of the paper. Abuja Kaduna route safe, says Omokri after tour. That's on page 3. Ebonyi raises minimum wage to 90,000 naira monthly. I think this is where all governors are trying to raise the minimum wage. Well, that story is on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Let's go to the bottom mass. Let's see if we have more stories here. Police seal off Edo NLC Secretariat. That's on page 25 of the Nation newspaper. Oyo Assembly approval of 300 billion loan in order. That's on page 25 of the paper. And the picture of the day, you can see Governor Sheriff Oboriwori, Delta State Governor, and other dignitaries presenting the Delta's potential to Brazilian investors. I think that's a good one coming to Delta State. Well, that's all we'll be taking on the Nation today. Let's go to The Guardian. The major story here reads, surge in unruly fan conduct, match day violence, plunge NPFL in crisis. That story is on page 4 and 5 of The Guardian newspaper. Let's go to the top mass. NNPCL vows to revive refineries, shop for $60 billion to expand capacity. That story is on page 3 of the paper. You can't intimidate us, Osun workers tell federal government over withheld local government funds. That story is on page 27 of the Guardian newspaper. 2027, I am not leaving NNPP, but open to discussions, says Kwankwaso. Well, that story is on page 3 of the Nation, of the Guardian newspaper. And at the top, I can see Ethiopian to rank second in SSA's urea production with Dangote's 3 MMT fertilizers plant. That story is on page 25 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's go to the bottom mass. Federal government approves lifetime salary for retiring senior officers. That story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Tertiary institutions on edge as ASU, SSANIP, federal government feud, heightened strike fears. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigerian facing malnutrition, 7% food insecure, says federal government. That story is on page 7. 2027, INEC fires back as ADC PDP demand probe of new voters record in Osun State. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Kidnappers of Castina couple and daughter demands 600 million naira ransom. That's a lot, but the story is on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. And the picture of the day is that of the main story, talking about the violence and unruly conduct of fans at the Nigeria Premier Football League. That's the main picture of the day. And that's all we're taking on the Guardian today. Let's go to leadership, Friday's edition of leadership. The main story here says federal government ASU dispute lingers as minister denies past agreement. The writer to the story says Alausa insists federal government has no binding pact with union. Says Yayale Ahmed led committee to renegotiate with ASU, federal government union meeting fails to hold. Well, that story is on page 4 of the leadership. Let's see if we have more here. To the bottom mass, paramilitary agencies head to earn salaries for life. That's on page 7. Cholera kills 8 in Zamfara. That story is a sad one, though it's on page 2 of the leadership. NGE flays killing of journalists in Gaza. That sad story is on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. To the side mass, NNPCL planning joint operations with private refiners to rescue refineries. Ojulari. The story is on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. Federal government awards 17-year-old Nafisa 200,000 naira for clinching word title in English. The story is on page 15 of the leadership newspaper. ACF condemns demolition of Alaba Rago Market in Lagos. The story is on page 4 of the paper. Let's see if we have more here. Still at the top mass, Dangote to build $2.5 billion fertilizers plants in Ethiopia, maintains 60% ownership. The story is on page 25 of the leadership newspaper. And the picture of the day, you can see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it's more of his arrival back in Nigeria after his trips to Japan and Brazil. Well, that's all we're taking on the leadership this morning. Let's go to the Vanguard newspaper.
Well, the Vanguard will be the last paper for us to look at today, this awesome edition of Viewpoint. Friday edition it is. And on the Vanguard, opposition parties battle INEC over voters' data. Talking about the 2027. And, just a rider to that. ADC, Labour, PDP, Atiku fought data, demand probe. But I'll just tell you to probe more of that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's quickly see if we take some other leading stories. Let's go to the top lines of the Vanguard and see if they have major ones there. Guild of Editors condemn killing of journalists in Gaza. It's a sad one on page 9. And not just that, under attack. Some people are plotting to unseat me. I'm not talking of me, Michael Obadia, but the NNPCL GCEO, Ojulari, seems to be screaming out loud on page 9. Federal government also disagree over agreement. Disagree over agreement is a major one on page 8. Dangote Group, Ethiopia signed deal to build $2.5 billion fertilizer plant. And you can view more of that story on page 19. Let's see if we take some other leading stories just to believe the picture of the day, as much as we try to wrap up the dailies today. Terrorism. DSS files charges against 9 suspects over Benue and Plateau killing is a cherry one on page 6. 2027, Amechi rules out stepping down. Oh, on page 9, declares interest in ADC presidential ticket. Court declines to stop Rivers local government polls as police restrict movement is a major one on page 12. Diaspora inflow hits $600 million United States dollar monthly, says Cardoso. It's a cherry one on page 19. But the picture of the day is that of the Delta State governor himself and other dignitaries as we're excited to get reforms on creating a Navy-friendly environment for investors. And all that played out yesterday in Delta State. Well, that's the much we can take from the Vanguard and also the papers this morning. And I'll just implore you, really love some of the stories, go get yourself a full of the dailies. Just go there, get them and read and be updated and informed. But anyway, I need to inform you that that's the much we can take on the dailies this morning. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, you do know the dialogue will be next, right here on Viewpoint.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
CME Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor Adi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
As you know, you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different. Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different. Ruth Gender Foundation.
I'm Ruth Edema Collins. I hold a first degree in physics electronics, a postgraduate qualification in business administration, and a nationally certified French language tutor. Career-wise, I'm an educational facilitator. I'm the managing director at Atlantic Media and TV, and I'm also a director at Vocotech Integrated Services Nigeria Limited. I'm a wife and a mother, and I like dressing up to show up. Yeah, so that's basically me. Thank you. Root Gender Foundation was inspired from my personal experiences growing up as a young girl in a typical Nigerian environment. For me, it was being different. It made people bully me, abuse me, and harass me. I was always misunderstood. And underrated. Root Gender is a foundation that is dedicated to building confidence in the Nigerian girl child through educational and inspirational programs, like supporting programs that promote girl child education. We also organize physical exercises for our young girls for the overall well-being of their mental and physical states, and also for the acquisition of self-defense skills. We also sensitize girls on laws that protect them. In our constitution, a lot of girls do not know that they have rights, that there are laws that protect their interests in Nigeria. Hence, they are vulnerable, they are living in fear, which is stopping them from reaching their full potentials. So we sensitize them on the laws that protect their interests. This, like I said, is visioned towards building confidence in the Nigerian girl child. So that is just a wrap up of what we do at Root Gender Foundation. I would say I resonate with the struggles and the challenges of the girl child, particularly the Warri girl child. I happen to grow up in the heart of Warri. I'm from an average background. My family is an average one, but I experienced a lot. Like I said, I was bullied, I was overlooked, I was harassed for being a different child, for daring to be different, and nobody was taking note and tapping into my potentials. So my interest for the girl child is I would love to be a voice for the girl child. They need people to believe in them. They need people to speak for them. I also want the Warri girl child to know that there is hope beyond the reef. I want them to see the bigger picture. I want them to know that they can compete on global platforms. They can compete on international platforms, and they can do very well. We have the likes of Ada Gold, or Maumi, and the rest of them. They are all competing very well on international platforms, and I know that you too can do that, and I want you to know that is why we are here. Root Gender Foundation is here to make you understand that you can actually be what you want to be. As part of our objectives at Root Gender Foundation, we are dedicated to promoting girl child education. Like I said, I represent the brand Warri Girl Child. I represent the brand the African Girl Child, because I have gone through the struggles from there to here. So giving 2 million to the best female participants is just a way to share them on. It's just a way to make them know that we believe in you. I believe in you. You can look up to us. We are sharing you on. It is not about the money. We believe in your potential. We want our girls to know that you are doing the right thing at the right time. You are in the right place, and this is what you should be doing. That's why we are supporting you, and we will always be here to support you. Girl child empowerment to me is enforcing laws that protect our girl child. You know, my NGO, we've been pursuing a bill that we will see to be passed. We are asking that our girls should be allowed to carry pepper spray as weapons of self-defense. Because if you look at it, our women have nothing to protect themselves. They are just there by the grace of God. So we are pursuing laws that will protect the girl child. So empowerment, girl child empowerment to me is enforcing laws that protect the girl child, educating the girl child on time and money management, financial literacy, and equipping them with self-defense skills. Also, access to quality education. This to me is girl child empowerment and nothing more. A girl child must possess effective communication skills. They should be able to communicate effectively. A girl child should be financially literate. She should know how to manage her finances, and she should also know how to manage her time. Yes. Also, most importantly, another skill is self-awareness. It's important for our girls to know who they are, to believe in themselves. That's the vision of our NGO, building confident girls that can achieve their full potentials in Nigeria. That is our NGO's vision. So yeah, those are some of the skills I believe that the girl child should possess. She needs role models. She needs people that have led that path and have made it. Our young girls need role models. That's why we have to do better. We have to do the work. We have to bridge the gap. We have to share them on like we are doing. You can achieve your dreams. First, you have to make education your best friend. Every effort you put into learning will always be there for you to never fail you. Boys will break your heart, people will break your heart, but every effort you put towards learning anything, everything will always come through for you. So for you to achieve your dreams, look towards the right people, look towards the right direction. There are people that have achieved in that route. I will encourage you to look up to them, learn from them. That is just the way to achieve your dreams. My message to the Warri Child, like I said, I represent the brand Warri Girl Child. We are letting the world know that we are not vile, we are not roused, we are educated, we compete intellectually, we have good things ahead of us. We can do it on the global platform, we can do it on the national platform, and we are everything there is to be a woman. I would encourage you, Warri Girl Child, make education your best friend. Make education your best friend. Learn new things. Learn new languages. Okay? And the sky will be your starting point. We are always here to cheer you up. Don't forget that my name is Ruth Edema Collins from Root Gender Foundation, and from all of us wishing you the best, we say keep watching Atlantic TV.
Ruth Gender Foundation.
The Independent National Electoral Commission kickstarts the continuous voters registration exercise nationwide in the country today, the 18th day of August 2025. The continuous voters registration exercise is meant for the registration of citizens who turned 18 years of age after the last registration exercise, or those who for one reason or another could not register in the previous exercise. The process also accommodates a request for transfer of registration, replacement of lost or damaged permanent voters card, and correction of personal information such as names and date of birth. Now, the process is regarded as the beginning in a long line of activities in the build-up to the general elections in 2027, and thus holds a pre-voter role in credibility and success of the electoral body in the conduct of the general election. But the question still remains, how would Nigerians partake in this process, or also how would they perceive this process, especially coming from an electoral body that is already taking a lot of knocks as it concerns the just concluded by-election in 12 states during the weekend? And should the CVR exercise be the main thing to do, or rather a reform of the whole electoral process should come first before we talk of any other? Well, these and more as it concerns the commencement of the CVR exercise and Nigerians' expectation from the electoral body and the electoral process itself as we build up to the general election is what this edition or maiden edition of Dialogue is all about. And that is the commencement of the CVR exercise and Nigerians' expectation from the electoral body. And like I said, that's what we'll be having as a major one on the Dialogue today. Like I said, it's a maiden edition of the Dialogue right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. Like I said, that's what we'll be having as a major discourse today. We're looking at that process that is starting today, and we're talking about the continuous voters registration exercise that will be cut across all parts of the country. But what are Nigerians' expectations, and how will Nigerians also participate in this is what this maiden edition of Dialogue is all about. But anyway, like we also would let you know, on Dialogue, we don't just talk alone. We always have a guest, could be 1, 2, or 3, joining us anywhere in the world. And funny enough, we have a guest already in the studio with us. And he's no other person, but I rather call him a comrade in all respects. And I'm talking about Comrade Edewo Egedegbe. He's indeed the director, executive director of the Value Rebate Center right here in Delta State. And not just only that, but also he's the steering, the coordinator of the steering committee that deals with more of electoral process and a critical stakeholder as it concerns advising the electoral body. I really would want to welcome him, Comrade Edewo Egedegbe. Thank you so much for joining us on this maiden edition of Dialogue on Atlantic TV.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. Good morning, viewers out there.
Well, anyway, I really want us to just dive straight into it. We do know that the 2010 electoral law, as amended, gives the electoral body every right to conduct this very exercise. And it also gives them a 60-day window to also inform political parties on the outcome of this very process. I'm talking about the continuous voters registration exercise. But as much as we'll be looking at that, many Nigerians are of the view that more needs to be done first before this very exercise. They feel a better reform has to come in place first, knowing that just during the weekend, we saw the by-election in 12 states, and already the electoral body is already taking a whole lot of knocks on account of that. So my question, I want us to deal with this issue of this school of thought of persons. I feel let's deal first with reforms of our electoral process before we start this process of the continuous voters registration exercise. So I want us to, in every way, not silence the voice of these doubters, but I want us to also look at the pulse of these persons. And I really want to get your reaction. Do you feel that call, that school of thought of, let's deal with reforms first before this whole process of continuous voter registration exercise should come? So I want your reaction on that. What's your take on that?
Okay, thank you for having me. First, my reaction would be that both can work together.
Okay.
There's no point saying we need to wait for reform to take place before you now exercise them. No. Now, it should be made clear that the 2022 Electoral Act, as amended, made it very clear for the processes of, continuous voters register, as it should be. Clock the age of 18, in line with the Constitution of Nigeria as amended, 1999 Constitution as amended, that become an exercise that should happen. Then, of course, strategically thinking, in INEC's view, they believe that at a point like this, beginning from today, it is 60 days after, the continuous register should happen. For those that have attained the age of 18, of course, between when it was last, updated and now, they have the opportunity to register because it's a constitutional, opportunity for every citizen. Then not just that, for those who have maybe concern in their names or correcting their name or loss of their voter's card previously, they have opportunity of also, addressing that challenge ahead of the next election. So it's supposed to be a work in progress. So it's no point saying we should wait for reforms first before, that process starts. No. Now, having said that, but it's important to also now express at this point that, yes, we celebrated the coming into force of the amended 2022 Electoral Act that, came with some fine reforms. For us in the civil society, we turned up for those huge reforms when the 2022 Electoral Act was signed into law. But, 2023 came and that law was tested for the first time, and there was so much hue and cry that has, arose from the implementation of that Electoral Act. Okay. Now, the question I am personally concerned with, and I believe many Nigerians share the same view, is that between 2023 and date, not much has been done in terms of, addressing those outcomes as a result of trying the 2022 Electoral Act, as in practice. Okay. Not much has happened. Okay. The 10th National Assembly are just, playing games with Nigerians in terms of, addressing those, feedback that came from 2023 general election in implementing the Electoral Act 2022. So that's why many Nigerians are a bit circumspect when they hear INEC come to say things. Of course, you are not strange to the conversation where glitches were all over the place. Yeah. From every election cycle to another, there is one use of word. The last one was glitches, technical glitches. So what has happened to addressing those glitches between that time and now? Not much has been told us by INEC, with due respect to them. So Nigerians are in a hurry to see the day-to-day improvement on the process.
Okay, I will plead with you. I'll plead with you, Comrade Dewo, to hold on there. We'll come to all of that later. But I want us to still remain with the issue of the continuous voters registration exercise. Let's deal with that first. Now, just like you said, in the 2022 edition of this very process, we had a whole lot of issues as it concerns this registration. We do know it was at some local government councils and some designated places that this exercise took place. But Nigerians also complained about the sharp practices, especially when it comes to huge crowds during that very process. And you do know some persons who ended up getting more than one voters registration cards, and which is also more like almost double voting, which is under Section 122 of the 2022 Electoral Act as amended. So my question, as an observer, you notice the hiccup, the hitches we had in the 2022 process to the build-up of the 2023 elections. How can we deal with the issues of sharp practices being made by these persons that are saddled with the responsibility of registering Nigerians to also participate in their franchise? So how do we deal with that process or that problem that we had in the 2022 process, the build-up of 2023 elections?
Thank you. Very good question. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, wrongdoing is becoming a norm. Unfortunately so. Wow. It's becoming a norm that when people do wrong things, the best they will tell you, say, go to court. Because they already know what will be the outcome in the court. Okay. Maybe they've compromised the courts in their own thinking, and so they can afford to do anything and tell you to go to the court or do anything that you think you can do. Yeah. Unfortunately so. But I think that Nigeria is more than that. Okay. And citizens must also rise up at a point like this. Now, I've always said, in every forum I am privileged to express myself, I've said, when we lament and complain without taking the rightful steps, we will be worse off. Okay. We'll be worse off. So Nigerians should engage the system, which is why some of us, anytime we have the privilege of engaging the system, we don't hold back anything. Which is those people who are saddled with responsibility of serving Nigeria in the capacity of INEC, the ad hoc staff or whatever, who should be properly trained on what they are going to the field to go and exercise. Once there is culpability, they should be shown the other way out. But that doesn't happen so much in Nigeria. Now, you ask yourself, between 2023 and now, the infractions that were occasioned by the electoral malpractices and all of it, yes. How many people have been shown the other way in serving as a punitive measure to serve as a deterrent now to other persons who may want to go that way? Not much of that is hard. They may want to tell you, once you say it like this now, they will come with reactionary tendencies to begin to say, oh, those things. Do I need to now prompt you before you give me an information that will serve my interests as a Nigerian? The answer is no. So I am saying here this morning that, look, Nigerians occupying public office should know that they owe this country a duty to serve her well, to serve her with integrity, with purpose, and of course the dream of our forefathers that founded this country. But the era of when you now get into an office, you see it as a larger than life style, and you want to now begin to do what you think that you like to do. I've always said, when you do what you like, you see what you don't like. But do what is right, then the outcome will be acceptable by all. What is right, not what you like. Because most time what we like is usually, against the wish of the people. So I am saying that a change, a paradigm change is expected. So the CVR has started today.
Yes.
There is no enough publicity. For instance, in the village I come from, there is no access road to the place. There is no electricity. So how will the people in the village know that the CVRO is continuing today? And what is the process of the CVRO? How long is it going to take? From which time to which time? Where will be the designated center? The people then are cut off. They are not in the picture. Then at the end of 60 days, INEC will come and begin to bundle figure at us. Oh, we've done this, we've done that. How well have you done it? It's not enough to do a thing. How well did you do that thing that you've done? In the interest of the people, in the interest of the state, not in your interest or the interest of your employer. No, the overall interest of the state is primary.
Okay, well, anyway, it's still primary, and the major one we're having right here on the maiden edition of Dialogue on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV, and we're looking at the commencement of the continuous voters registration exercise that starts today cut across the country as a build-up to the 2027 general elections. How really ready are Nigerians, and will that process be seamless, or are we going to get more reaction as it concerns that process as we did in 2022 when that process was concluded? Build up to the 2023 general elections. All of that is still what's taking center stage on this media edition of Dialogue on our Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. But it's also right, I emphasize here, that we reach out to the independent body, and we're talking about the state rec of the Independent National Electoral Commission, and he gave us that promise that when it's time for him to talk, he will definitely reach out back to us on Atlantic TV and give us his reaction as it concerns this process and every other question that will definitely arise on account of our discussion today. So be rest assured, when he reaches out to us, we'll be bringing him live right here on this great media outlet for you to hear firsthand on what the independent body needs or has to do to ensure that we have a seamless process. But still talking about the process itself, I'll need to come to you. And in your own honest assessment, Mr. Comrade Dewa Egedebe, in the last general exercise in 2022, we had about 10 million Nigerians added to that process, which is about 11.26% higher than the 84 million Nigerians that were registered that were registered to participate in the 2019 general election. So my question is simple. Looking at all you've said, looking at many who say the wishes of Nigerians being put aside, and nobody seems to have been held on account of what they've done or did during that process. My question, do you see many Nigerians turning up to participate in this continuous voters registration exercise? It's a question. Are we going to see that large number of 10 million that we saw during the 2022 exercise and build up to the 2023 election? Or do you feel Nigerians numbers would be a far cry from what the number needs to be?
In my estimation, it's going to be a far cry, because the motivation is not there. The one Nigerian turnout in over 10 million that were added to the swoop the last time, what became of it? What became of it at the elections? So that's, is another way of making Nigerians not to be enthusiastic about the process. That's what we're saying. But in spite of what has happened, my appeal to Nigeria is that, look, it is your civic responsibility.
Okay.
It is your civic responsibility.
Which you need to participate in.
Which you need to take advantage of.
Okay.
Don't say, because when you don't participate in the electionary process, those who I consider as idiots will take over the system. Because when there is a challenge and there are no right mind to engage, those people who perpetrated the challenge will have a field day. So I'm calling on Nigerians in spite of INEC misgivings, it is your civic rights and responsibility. You know, I tell people, right comes with responsibility.
Most certainly.
Right comes with responsibility. But you know, in the Nigerian parlance, what many people talk about is the right. What is responsibility? It's your responsibility to vote and be voted for. And in your voting, that's where you exercise your franchise to say, this is the person I want to come represent me for the next few years. So when you do that, and I do my own, there will be tension in the camp of those people who want to manipulate the system, because they will suddenly know that there is a change of mindset in the average Nigerian mind. It's ready to determine who comes.
Okay.
But when you sit aloof, no, like the Bible says, you know, it said the devil sowed tares when men slept. So when you sleep over your rights, somebody will trample on it. Then you can't react. No, we need to be proactive. So Nigerians should come out in spite of the gimmicks of INEC. I encourage Nigerians, even in the locals. For me, of course, as my organization, civic engagement is one of our focus. Yes. We'll be going everywhere, telling our people, the audience that will have that, look, the process has begun. Just one day off to respond to Nigeria by doing your civic right will not be too much for you. It may not even take you a day.
Comrade, I could still remember during the 2023 general elections, many Nigerians turned out.
Sure.
And that was the first time we had great number of young participating in the process. Now, coming to tell them now to still participate, and you talked about the shortcomings of the electoral body, the electoral umpire. Would that be right? Because that's why I asked you initially. Will reforms not help Nigerians prepare for this process? Will reforms not help put Nigerian minds at rest? That yes, if they take that step in doing what you say is their civic responsibility, at the end it will count. So my question, what needs to be done? You've mentioned a great deal that many, the umpire itself has to do enough as in going out to advertise, or rather to inform Nigerians or sensitize Nigerians on this process. But how do you feel Nigerians will feel that they did a whole lot in a build up to the 2020 elections and they got little or nothing? So would that process not be better to start first before talking about the CV out? So it brings me back to my initial question. When I asked you, would reforms not be in place rather than doing this and Nigerians not participating at the end of it?
You see, I go back to what I said earlier. Now, there is no point tying it that this has to happen for this to happen, which is why I said both can happen, together, simultaneously. Now, I understand, I'm aware clearly that the Electoral Act is being looked into by the National Assembly, 10th National Assembly. Though they are sleeping over it anyway. They started
just last month.
Yeah, they are sleeping over it in my estimation, but they've started something there. Now, because of the time management of the process, so the CVRO need to continue. Then there's going to be a feedback, a report of the exercise for INEC to do a cleanup before the final register that will be set down to use to conduct the 2027 election. So it's time bound. So waiting for the reform to happen, we may not even have the time to do this one. So which is why working simultaneously is critical for all stakeholders that are necessary in this pivot. Which is also why, as a citizen of this country, it's your right and responsibility to ensure that you register. Not just registering, engage in any process that will advance the cause of democracy. That is the way it works. We are quick to, make reference to America, the working democracies of this world. We are not also quick to, come along with the processes they went through to arriving at those processes. Nigerians want it free. They want it now. Things don't work that way. There is what to do part-time, and there's a follow-up, and there's a follow-through. All of these processes must go through. As a trained strategist, one, INEC is not doing enough, in my own estimation.
In sensitization. And
apart from sensitization, the way they even organize their processes, it leaves much to be desired, in my estimation. And what I frown at most times with INEC is the fact that once Nigerians are beginning to speak truth to power, speaking to the reality of what Nigerians sees, not what they come to tell us on TV, on radio, or wherever they want to try to express themselves, they react. They react. For crying out loud, it is my duty to be properly governed by the government of my country. It's a constitutional duty. So it's my responsibility to come back to government to say, look, you are not governing me well. It is my right. And it is my responsibility to follow law and order. It's my responsibility. So INEC should not, add to the woes of Nigerians today. That, bad leadership has occasioned on us. We should be able to strive to come out of this level of, deprivation, misgovernance, amenities not being brought, to the germane Nigerians who deserve much. Don't forget, from survey, Nigeria have 44 minerals that are domiciled in this soil of this country, that just one mineral alone, properly given attention, we make the most of Nigerian as an egalitarian state. Okay. But we have the plethora of them, but because governance and leadership is failing us at every level, at the national level, at the sub-national level, even at the local level and at the community level, everywhere, we have people who are in leadership position who see themselves as larger than life. They don't want to engage the people. They don't want objectivity. They want subjectivity. All of that has to give way for an egalitarian state where the rights and privileges of citizens are well respected.
Well, anyway, talking about respect, I'll plead with you to hold on. And, I just need to really emphasize this, especially as you are listening or really watch us wherever you are. It's a Viewpoint, and the program you're listening or rather watching is a dialogue on this great station, and we're talking about Atlantic TV. And that's what we're having as a major one today on the show. And like I said, a maiden edition of Dialogue. We're looking at the commencement of the continuous voters registration exercise to the build-up of the 2027 general elections. How really Nigerians, or rather, how would Nigerians really participate in this process, especially looking at what transpired in 2022, and are Nigerians really excited or happy that these would commence, is a major question, and one that is taking center stage on the show today. Like I said, we still have no other person. In case you join us, it means a great deal. We have no other person, the executive director of Value Rebate right here in Delta State, and also a critical stakeholder as it concerns advising the electoral body. And we're talking about the Independent National Electoral Commission. But anyway, as much as we talk about that, Comrade Dewa Egedebe, just during the weekend, we saw elections being conducted in 12 states. By election, 16 seats were being looked at. And at the end of it, we learned that the ruling party, the APC, swept about 12 of such seats. And little, some NNPP took one. PDP seemed to have a bit of the highest after the APC. And AD, coming at the bottom. And anyway, more of a new political party. So we understand. But all of that, the Independent Natural Electoral Commission is already having a lot of knocks. Let's look at that process itself. Because many Nigerians will say, we're just still putting old wine into a new bottle. And I want us to look at the issue of the man at the helms of affair. Now, many Nigerians, immediately after the 2023 general elections, kicked against that move that the president should nominate the chairman of the electoral body. And because of that, it arose that many Nigerians are calling for a separate person, maybe the judiciary, maybe a separate body to indeed nominate who will be at the helms of in the electoral umpire. So I want your view on that, as we also would look at these just concluded by elections, and why many Nigerians, especially political parties, are already crying wolf. So let's look at it. Do you subscribe that for us to have a credible elections, we need to get not the president choosing who will run the affairs of the electoral body, just like some other countries? What's your take on that?
Yes, I subscribe to that school of thought. The president should not be the one to choose INEC umpire, in any case, in my estimation. And not also the judiciary, as some other people are saying, because I do not also have that confidence in the today's judiciary, with due respect to them, today's judiciary that we have. Yeah. Integrity questions everywhere around them. So until they're able to, purge themselves of those...
Or clean house.
Or clean themselves of those allegations here and there, one would not even want to ascribe. Some said, the NJC The NJC have not been able to deal with those, the barrage of cases of corrupt tendencies by judges and even legal practitioners that is before them. So there's no point giving them the task of selecting somebody that can best handle the INEC. But in my view, to get a Nigerian that can do a human job in INEC is not difficult. It's not difficult. There are cerebral Nigerians everywhere. Everywhere. What is the issue is the government of the day part-time will not want that to happen. Will not want that to happen.
And what's your assertion on that?
So, for instance, put a call for application. Put a call for application for people to subscribe for the post of the INEC chairman.
Yes.
Then, of course, commissioners, federal commissioners, and even state regs. Put call for application like it's done in the private sector. The best gets the job. The best gets the job. Now, in the screening committee, you can make it, the composition can be, okay, yes, some seasoned retired judges that,
were exemplary
in their conduct, we know them. Then, of course, from the public service, generally, you bring people from the civil society, you bring people from the religious society to be part of that screening committee, to screen those who would have passed. Of course, the screening will be in batches, in levels. Yeah. Okay, screening the qualification of the persons. Then, of course, going through to getting the security screening of the person. Has he gotten his hand soiled one time, all of that? Do all of those screening and come out, reduce the toll to, a comprehensible number, then subject them to written and oral interviews. Then after that, the best emerge. So that is devoid of influence of Mr. President, devoid of National Assembly people who will come and say, bow and go. Rather, not the public opinion. It is on credibility, on capacity that the person will not emerge, just as is done in the private sector. And even some public sector, some of those agencies that do something that look like it. So that for me is the process. That for me is the process. Now, we understand that towards the end of this year, the tenure of the current INEC chairman
will definitely
expire. So by now, the process for call for application for a possible replacement should have begun. Not Mr. President looking for one of his old hand, then you dust him up and you throw it, and of course he goes to the National Assembly, they will say because it's coming for president, bow and go. All of that should stop. We should stop it. And Nigeria should be able to speak against it. This, suffering and smiling that we do is not the best for us. It's not the best for us. Go to Rwanda, a war-torn country, some years back ago. Go to Rwanda today. When you see governance in Rwanda, you marvel. Is it rocket science? It's a shared determination.
Are you saying it's because they got it right in the electoral process? Because we do know Paul Kagame of Uganda has been in charge of that very country for decades now.
Yes.
And we also do know that even the electoral process there has been declared to be faulty. But anyway, let's leave Rwanda and return back to Nigeria. Because I'm also a bit curious to ask. Yes, you just spilled out what you feel is the right way to choose who should be the umpire, who should head the electoral body. But my also question is, let's talk on the issue of also the reforms. We know during the 2022 electoral reforms, we had great ideas being brought up by the electoral umpire itself. When we talked about the beavers and all of that and how well it played out, especially as it concerns the election. But my question now, we do know that, like you said, the National Assembly has started hearings as it concerns the reform of the electoral body and other reforms of the Nigerian Constitution 99 as amended. So my question now is, what do you feel needs to be reformed in the electoral body, apart from who chooses the head of the electoral body? What again should come as a means of reforming that body to create more credibility of the process of our elections?
Thank you. This is one very beautiful question I would like to respond to. First, the first reform I think should happen in the ongoing process is the fact that on election day, first, the 5 category of offices that will be contested should be done in one day. Reform number 1.
Okay, we should have all our elections
One day
on one day.
election.
Okay.
One, that will help to reduce waste by deploying people on 2 occasions. 2 after the first election, then 2 weeks after, you bring in the same set of people to do another thing. That can be done in one day. Don't forget, the first election is for, 3 categories of persons. The president, then of course, the Senate and the House of Reps. 3 in one day. Then the next one will be governor and House of Assembly. So I'm saying that add the governor and the House of Assembly to the president, the Senate, and the House of Reps. One day, print 5 papers one day and bring it. So once I come out to exercise my franchise as my civic responsibility, I come vote for who I want to be my president. I come vote for who I want to be my senator, my House of Rep representative, the governor in my state, and of course, the State House of Assembly. One day, my once coming will afford me that opportunity.
Okay.
Reform number 1.
Yeah.
Then reform number 2. The result of election should be announced at the polling unit, transmitted to the IRF portal from there. No collation at ward level. At best, collation at local government level. The collation must be in line with what has been sent to IRF portal. So there is no word collation. That should be eliminated in the amendment, in my view. The collation at the local government level is a cumulation of all of the polling units that have already sent their result, declared, announced result to the IRF portal. So IRF portal must tally with what the local government collation is giving. So it is from there you translate to the state for announcement. By this, the manipulation, the manipulation takes place at the collation centers. That is where you see that, wait, no, that unit has not come in. You need to wait for that unit to come in. You need to wait. And INEC, returning officer will be receiving calls from, from very terrible characters who want to subvert the will of the people. So when you say, what are my reforms? They are just very simple.
Comrade, are you still talking about the INEC portal that had a whole lot of glitches during the last elections? Are we still going to use that? Is it not time we also jettison that? Because if you could still remember during the general elections, that was where we had glitches. Many persons says the network was not working, especially the electoral umpire said we had glitches to that system, and we also almost had people hacking into that system. So should we still go through that process of using that very portal in dealing with our elections?
Yes. Because, after the presidential election, the glitches, don't forget, were more occasion with the presidential election.
But we had glitches.
No, I'm coming. The glitches were more with the president's election. And they were less even with the House of Assembly, House of Reps and the Senate. Then 2 weeks after, during the governorship and the State House of Assembly, the glitches were no longer there.
So is it that we got a better network service that dealt with it, or what?
Of course, the system, of course, is alleged here and there that people hacked into the server, it was compromised, all of that. But when the hue and cry became very high between when presidential election took place and governorship, there were some makeshift adjustment which made the outcome of the governorship and the State House of Assembly a lot better. Yeah. So, and between that time and now, INEC should have been able to, to work on those glitches to give us a fairer deal in 2027. So, having addressed that, which is a responsibility of INEC and the government of today, if they really mean well for this country in any case, but the day-to-day thing that should be done, that we translate to the IRF portal, is that one election be done that same day for the 5 offices to be contested. Yes. Then 2, the election result should be announced at the unit level, and the result announced should be sent from directly the unit to the IRF portal. And I'm saying that there should be a clear abrogation of collation at ward level, or call them rack centers. All of that should be out of the way. The Electoral Act 2022 that is being amended now should eliminate those areas that can give room to subversion of the will of the people.
Now, talking about room and giving way for a new mode of things, is Nigeria not ripe enough for electronic voting? Because we do know, with the comfort of their homes in a more developed clime, people sit there and go ahead with elections. So is it not time that we also go through that process to deal with the issues of all of those glitches, all of those problems that seem to arose on account of persons saddled with the responsibility of doing the needful but subverting the whole process? So my question still remains, is Nigeria not also ripe enough for electoral or electronic voting as itself?
We are not ripe. Let's not deceive ourselves. We are getting in the process of being ripe. We are not ripe. Now, what I was saying is, between 2022, 2023 election, and 2027 is 4 years.
Yes.
So strategically speaking, what are those processes that Nigeria have put in place that will make it look as if, yes, we are getting closer? That's a responsibility on the side of our legislators who were elected to make laws that will better the lives of Nigerians. But is that seen in the 10th Assembly today? If you ask me, in my opinion, in fairness to them, it's a no-no. Because what you see there is globetrotting. You know, globetrotting.
So
and
are you saying the process that brought them in was faulty, and that's why we see persons not accountable to the people? Is that what you are saying?
You can say that a million times now, and they know. That is why they are not in a hurry to fine-tune the process. Because once the process is fine-tuned, I can tell you for free, with due respect to them over there, more than 80% of the people there will not find their way there. You know, and they know. Which is why my advocacy and sensitization is to Nigerians, not to them. I can tell you this on set, that politicians are the most, fearful characters when it comes to elections. They don't want to face election. They don't want to face election. So it is because of our passivity and docility as citizens that they are still riding roughshod up there. The moment Nigerians begin to stand on their rights and responsibility, I tell you, some of those people you see there, you won't see them there in 2027.
Well, anyway, Comrade Dewa Gidigbe, I seem to have a different view as it concerns that, and not just merely having a view. The United States of America, in April of 2024, came out with a report to say that the 2023 general election was the will of the people. Because why I'm saying that now, the report is here. We do know the report. And they said that the outcome of the 2023 general election reflected the will of the people, emphasizing about the credibility of the process. But you just said a contrary view to that. So are you saying the United States of America was wrong in their assertion that that election was free and fair, and the credible people are those that we're having now in the National Assembly?
Well, United States of America people, were they in Nigeria when we were doing the election?
But that's the report. They were part of the vetting process that accumulated into us having these elections.
You see, in my view, my honest view usually, is that you don't expect the United States of America to say contrary. Those are diplomatic issues. They won't say contrary because a government has been, either by hook or crook, a government has been constituted. And they pretended to have gone through the process. So what else would they say?
But with a leading democracy as the United States of America, where every other democratic norm seems to structure, not find holes in the general election? Is that what you're saying?
No, you see, that general statement you made now, that is not without a knocks at some level. You know, as an observer, I observe elections. I've been observing elections date back up to 2003, the dates. So, when we observe election, we tease out the things that went well and the one that didn't go well, and come with our recommendations. And that's what, everybody does. But it also depends on the interest the assessment is serving. And talking about America, for instance, now, they may want to give a favorable outcome based on their economic interest in Nigeria. All of those are things that we know in international politics. We've read all of this, and they are the day-to-day things that happen. What is important is Nigerians' assessment of the election, because Nigerians were the ones that went for election. What is their assessment? Now, let me ask you this question. What was Nigeria's statement to American election that was conducted last year? So where was Nigerians' assessment of the American district? So you see, I have told people, local problems require local solutions. The problem of Nigeria is Nigeria, not America, not even England. So we must look inward, and the answer is handy. But some just less than 2% of Nigerians are manipulating over 230 million Nigerians by way of subscribing to democracy that they are not practicing. In fairness to them, in fairness, in my own estimation, though we are a constitutional democracy, but the day-to-day practice speak contrary. Speak contrary. There is so much draconianism in what is happening in our day-to-day governance that the opinion of the people is never sought at any time. If it is sought, it will be sought in a make-believe way, just to massage some egos and come up with something that look like, oh, we have done the process. But it's all fake. It's all fake, for crying out loud. So I'm speaking to the conscience of every Nigerian who believes in this country. For me, I believe in Nigeria. I go nowhere. We will fix it here.
Well, we're talking about fixing it and being here. We are still right here in the studios, the lovely studios of our Atlantic TV. And indeed, Viewpoint is what we're having on around this time. You do know it's dialogue, and on dialogue, we always enjoy to talk about the issues. And talking about the issue is what we're looking at today. We're talking about the commencement of the continuous voters registration exercise that kickstarts today. And we'll run through the whole month, because on the 25th, we'll be person-to-person registration of that very exercise. But the question still remains on the dialogue: what needs to be done to get the credibility to our electoral process as we start this? And like I said, we still have Comrade Dewa Gedigbe, who is helping us out with this discussion on the mining. It feels a bit different from that report from the United States of America, which assessed that the 2023 general elections was just the will of the people. But anyway, let's bring ourselves back to our discussion today as we truly try to wrap things up on the show today. Well, like I said, you've given us some takes that you feel will definitely better our electoral process. And it looks as if all knocks has really been on the electoral empire and the leadership itself. But let's come now to followers. Because in that very by-elections, the report we heard that many persons were arrested on account of vote buying, which also means that if the process of vote buying is to take place, we'll have the seller and also the buyer. But my question now, let's come to the followers themselves. Don't you feel Nigerians are also culpable in this whole process? Don't you feel the followers are also a part of the problem? Because if you do not buy, if you do not sell your vote, it will never be put out in the market there.
My name is Desaka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl in your life.
My name is my wife, Niger Celebrity Type Man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Good day and welcome to our daily news roundup I am Michael Gabadia. You're watching our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. Here are top stories. Federal government projects 21% GDP contribution by 2030 with e-governance bill. The federal government never signed any agreement with ASU, Education Minister Aluasa. And Tinubu mourns ex-custom boss Mustafa. ADC demand forensic audit of INEC first week voters registration data. And Prince Harry to visit UK on anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death. And on sport, Javi Simons lands in London amid Chelsea's Spurs battle. Now to the news in full. The federal government has dismissed claims that it signed agreement with the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU Minister of Education, Dr. Tujin Aloasa, told journalists in Abuja on Thursday that the documents often cited by the union were merely proposals, not binding agreements, according to the minister. Both the 2009 and 2011 documents referred to by ASU were presented only during negotiations, but were never signed. Dr. Alas also dismissed media report that he had scheduled a meeting with ASU and the Minister of Labor, describing them as inaccurate. He emphasized that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu remains committed to resolving outstanding issues with the lecturers' union, despite the misinformation. The federal government says Nigerian gross domestic product could rise significantly through the digital economy, with contributions projected to reach 21% by 2030 if the proposed National Digital and E-Governance Bill is passed into law. The Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosum Tijani, represented by the PAM Secretary, Mr. Rafiu Adelada, disclosed this at a stakeholders validation workshop in Abuja. According to him, the digital economy already added over 7 trillion naira to Nigerians' real GDP in the first quarter of 2025, contributing 14.19%. With strategies in place, the figure, now between 16 and 18%, is targeted to hit 21% by 2030. The minister commended the National Assembly for supporting the bill, stressing its passage will be key to Nigerians' competitiveness in the global digital era. Dr. Tijani explained that the bill will anchor Nigeria's digital transformation agenda, strengthen governance, improve service delivery, and build public confidence in the digital trade and e-governance. The federal government has honored a 17-year-old Nigerian teenager, Nafisa Abdullahi, who emerged world best in English at the 2025 Teen Eagle Global Finals in London. At a ceremony in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tujin Aloasa, presented Nafisa with a cash prize of 200,000 naira in recognition of her exceptional performance. It will be recalled that Atiku Abubakar Foundation had earlier awarded full-funded scholarship to Nafisa and her teammates Rukia Fama and Kadia Kali, describing their feat as remarkable success for Nigeria on the global stage. Nafisa from Yobe State distinguished herself among contestants from 69 countries, earning global acclaim for her mastery of the English language, critical thinking, and communication skills. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has expressed deep sorrow over the passage of the former Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Alhaji Ahmed Mustafa. Alhaji Mustafa, who also held the title of Sultana Adamawa, died in Abuja on Thursday at the age of 76. The president extended his condolence to the Adamawa Emirate Council, the government, and the good people of Adamawa State. He prayed Almighty Allah to grant the soul of the late Alhaji Ahmed Mustafa Aldana Fadas. And a statement signed by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu described the late Mustafa as a dedicated public servant who contributed immensely to the growth of customs service and to his Adamawa homeland. Let's quickly go on the break, and when we come back, we still have more news across Nigeria, the world, and sport.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is baby.
CME Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. The assumption of office by the newly nominated chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Abdullahi Ramat, has sparked controversy in the nation's power sector. Ramat, who was nominated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on August the 8th to replace Sanusi Garuba, reportedly resumed duty even before his appointment was considered by the Senate, a move stakeholders say undermines due process. The controversy deepened after a presidency issued two conflicting statements. Now, in the first, presidential aide Bayo Onanuga said Ramat and two other nominees should assume office in acting capacity to prevent a leadership vacuum. But in a reissued statement, Onanuga reversed the directive, clarifying that Vice Chairman Musiliu clarifying that the Vice Chairman Musiliu Oseni would continue as acting chairman until the Senate completes confirmation. While some argue that the president reserves the right to make appointment, others insist that such decision must align with law, especially given the sensitive nature of the electricity industry. The suspension of an Anambra lawmaker has sparked outrage from Labour Party legislators representing Anambra North at the National Assembly. And a joint statement signed by Senator Tonyi Nwoye and Representative Afam Ogene, Idu Emeka, and Peter Anikwe, the caucus described the suspension of Abuchi Ademuz Udumeze, a member representing Ayamulem constituency, was hasty and highly high-handed. The caucus further argued that rather than address Udumeze's concerns, the state government allegedly influenced the assembly to reconvene from recess just to suspend him. They said such actions stifles democracy and silence opposition voices. The lawmakers also linked the suspension to the lawmaker's stance against the alleged misuse of local government funds and his call for full enforcement of the Supreme Court judgment on financial autonomy for local governments. While they admitted that the parliamentary debate must avoid foul language, the caucus insisted that fair hearing was indeed needed to ensure that more should be done, and denied and demanded a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding his suspension. They alleged that Udumeze's suspension followed his criticism of poor infrastructure in his local government, a gas-producing locality, and his accusation against both the state government and operating companies for neglect and mismanagement. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, is raising alarm over what it calls statistical impossible figures released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, after the first week of the continuous voters registration exercise ahead of the 2027 election. In a statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC demanded a forensic audit of the figures, warning that failure to address the discrepancies could erode public trust in the Nigerian electoral process. The party particularly questioned Osun State numbers, noting that the state recorded over 393,000 pre-registration in just 1 week, a figure higher than the total number of new voters added between 2019 and 2023. The ADC stressed that the Southwest alone accounted for 67% of all pre-registration nationwide, while the Southeast recorded fewer than 2,000, raising concerns of data manipulation or technical faults. The party therefore called on INEC to conduct and publish a full forensic audit of the data, including state-by-state breakdown, server logs, and access reports. It also urged opposition parties, election monitoring groups, and civil society to join in demanding accountability. INEC has yet to formally respond to ADC's demand. Still talking politics, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai said he has no intention of contesting any elective position in the 2027 general election. El-Rufai made the remarks in Kaduna on Wednesday while receiving defectors from the People's Democratic Party into the African Democratic Congress. He stressed that his return to politics is not about personal ambition, but about supporting credible leadership across the country. The former minister of the Federal Capital Territory explained that after leaving office in 2023, his plan was to take a break from partisan politics. However, he said national development compelled him to step back in, this time to mentor young people, women, and reform-minded Nigerians for active role in governance. He emphasized that his focus is on building a new generation of leaders rather than pursuing political office for himself. Let's take go on a break, and when we come back, more news right here on Atlantic TV.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. The Nigerian Immigration Service has announced a fresh upward review of passport fees effective September 1st, 2025. And a statement signed by the Service Public Relations Officer, ACIAS Akinlabi, the new charges apply only to applications made within Nigeria. Fees for Nigerians in diaspora remain unchanged at $150 for a 32-page 5-year booklet and $230 for a 64-page 10-year booklet. The service explained that the adjustment was aimed at maintaining the quality and integrity of Nigerian passport while ensuring accessibility for citizens. This increment comes barely a year after the federal government last approved a hike in passport fees, which took effect from September 2024. The federal government is moving to strengthen Nigerians' industrial base and skill manufacturing across West Africa. At a press conference in Lagos, the Minister of State for Industry, John Eno, announced that the government will collaborate with key stakeholders at the West African Industrialization, Manufacturing and Trade Summit and Exhibition 2025 scheduled for October in Lagos. The minister projected that a successful Buy Nigerian campaign could generate as much as 3 trillion naira in short term while also creating jobs and also changing consumers' attitude. He added that ongoing economic reforms, including the harmonization of exchange rates, are stabilizing the economy, but sustained consistency is needed to attract more foreign direct investment. The October summit will gather government officials, industry leaders, and regional partners to chart the path for West Africa's industrialized transformation. NO explained that Nigeria's new national industry policy will build on past executive orders aimed at boosting local content, but with a stronger push through the Nigerian First policy, backed by a nationwide campaign to promote made in Nigeria goods. Still talking business, Consolidated Hallmark Holdings PLC has posted an impressive 404% profit growth for the 2024 financial year. Profit before tax rose sharply from 4.7 billion naira in 2023 to 23.2 billion in 2024, while profit attributable to stakeholders hit 22.59 billion naira, up from 3.8 billion the previous year. Speaking at the company's annual general meeting, Group Chairman Shaibu Idris attributed the success to strategic long-term investments, particularly in oil and gas sector, despite challenges posed by government reforms and forex liberalization. It further assured stakeholders that the company's newly secured life insurance license will open more opportunity to access long-term investment funds, strengthen operations, and deliver sustainable returns in critical sector of the economy. The group also recorded a 117% growth in total assets, moving from 26.2 billion naira in 2023 to 56.9 billion naira in 2024. Insurance revenue doubled as well, climbing from 15.7 billion naira to 29.42 billion naira. Let's still go on a break and more news right here on Atlantic TV. Often linked to charity events or legal battles. Whether these visits sparks a reconciliation with the royal family remains uncertain. However, the visit is expected to stir speculation over whether the Duke of Sussex will reconnect with the royal family. Relations remain strained with reports of no contact with his father, King Charles III, and ongoing tensions with his brother, Prince William. Still on the foreign scene, the United States government is set to tighten visa rules for international students and journalists in what is described as a move to curb abuse and strengthen oversight. Under the Department of Homeland Security proposal, student F visas will now be capped at a minimum of 4 years, regardless of the length of the academic program. This means doctoral students and others on extended study programs may need visa renewal before graduation. The policy also already drawn criticism from U.S. universities who warn it could deter top global talents. The DHS insists the change is necessary to prevent visa abuse and protect national security. For journalists, the new rule limits visa to 240 days with possibility of one extension for another 240 days, but never longer than the duration of the assignment. Extension will be processed through U.S. citizenship and immigration service, including additional security checks. On the sports scene, Xavi Simons has arrived in London as Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur step up their pursuit of the highly rated 22-year-old, reports indicate. Simons, a representative, have already opened talks with both clubs. Personal terms are not expected to be a stumbling block with the player eager to test himself in the Premier League. A decision on Simon's next destination is expected before the close of transfer window, with both clubs ready to table competitive offers. Chelsea are positioning Simon as part of their midfield rebuild, while Spurs view him as a central figure in Thomas Frank's tactical setup. German outlet BILD confirmed Simon's missed training as decisions over a move intensifies. Still talking sports, the Ogun State government has conducted medical checkups for its outlets ahead of the 8th edition of the National Youth Games scheduled to hold in Asaba, Delta State. The screening exercise held in Abeokuta under the supervision of qualified medical experts involved a routine assessment such as vital signs monitoring, full body examination, and general fitness checks. The Ogun State Sport Council described the exercise as both a preparatory step and a precautionary measure. They added that the contingent is motivated, well prepared, and determined to make the state proud at the Games. The 2025 National Youth Games will run from August 29 to September 6, with over 6,000 athletes and officials expected from across the country. Officials say the initiative is part of effort to safeguard the well-being of athletes and ensure that they're physically and mentally ready to compete at their best during the Games. Well, that also wraps up the news right here on Atlantic TV. You could also still remember you can follow us on our different social media platforms, and well, any news to share, we'll be more than happy to have it. Well, anyway, good day and have a nice time. My name still remains Michael Gobadio. Bye for now.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different. Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is Trendy. Welcome to Trendy on Viewpoint on Atlantic Media and TV. This is where we'll talk about all the trending gist on the internet and of course give our opinions about them. I am Mercy Erabo and I still have Michael Gubadia here in the studio with me, and together we'll share our opinions on all the trending gist on the internet. So what's trending today? Right now trending is Baltasar Nkonga. I don't know if that name ring a bell though, but he's the Equatorial Guinea man at the center of Africa's widest scandal. This man had about 400 leaked tapes online, and he was actually caught with some top officials' wives. That's a lot. But the truth is, he trended, he made this headline sometime earlier this year, but that's not the reason he's trending today. And note that he was also the former head of corruption in Equatorial Guinea, and now he's been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment for the same corruption that he was fighting. So imagine the former head of corruption now being sentenced to prison for corruption. Mr. Michael, what do you feel about this?
Well, I feel it's more like a happy reunion.
Okay.
Those he sent to jail will definitely welcome him with open hands, and they will definitely give him. I'm just foreseeing his first day in prison. It's going to be a lovely dinner and blood flowing. But anyway, let's leave the blood. It's really a thing of shame that in Africa, all we see is that persons that are saddled with the responsibility of doing their best are always there to do something different. It's quite annoying. And you talked about the scandal that greeted him. Yes, for many unholy and unruly young men, he still remains a legend to them because of those sex tapes. And it's quite painful. It's quite an embarrassment that it went to social media. And coming from Africa, that we pride ourselves in culture, heritage, and morals, well, indeed a sad tale.
Well, that's that for that, but that's not the end of that for Equatorial Guinea. I don't know, why is it that whenever we hear Equatorial Guinea, it's always trending the wrong way? I don't know, please.
They should have a rethink
and
a rebet of values.
But right now, the son of the president of Equatorial Guinea, his name is Roslan Obiang Unsue. So he's been sentenced to 6 years imprisonment for selling a national plane and pocketing the cash.
Wow.
Can you just imagine? You're selling a national plane. Son of a president, selling a national plane and pocketing the cash. So now he's asked to choose between spending 6 years behind bars, or he coughs out 255,000 US dollars. That's a lot. I feel he might just go for the 6 years.
Well, anyway, whichever stand he takes, it's sad when we see children of the elite, especially those that are in high places. Young man, your father is not is the president of the country. He's not the owner of everything that happened or is being gotten by the country. They should always have that clear distinction.
Yeah.
This is not the first time we're hearing of such corruption, but having him sell a national asset and putting the whole fund in his pocket, well, indeed, it looks as if Equatorial Guinea is really trending on a high. And, well, it's the first I've heard.
So my question now is, I've been thinking, if the president's son can be convicted, does that mean that justice actually works in Equatorial Guinea?
Well, anyway, yeah, well, we're taking a cue from what happened. And if it's that way, but you remember he was given an option.
Yes, to either pay for what he sold, like return the money, or
but honestly,
go to
I
prison.
feel he shouldn't have even been given an option. He should go to jail.
Then I'm
He
sure
stole-
6
he
years is
stole-
not a lot.
He stole and sold a national asset, and is now being given an option to return the money and go and see no more.
But the truth is, 6 years is not a lot. If they are giving everybody 6 years, I feel everybody might want to do the same.
Okay.
So I think giving him the option is like, return the money or you spend 6 years in jail. I'm sure justice is actually working in Equatorial Guinea, because I'm sure if it's some other African countries, you'll not hear from me though. I'm sure they would just cover the case, just sweep it under the carpet and all of that. Well, that's on Equatorial Guinea. So quick updates on the FINA versus Dangote. You know, I told you then that it was a developing story, and of course I will give you new updates on the FINA versus Dangote. So now FINA came online, she came to cry that Dangote, you are not keeping to your promise. You said you were going to fly my sister outside the country, but right now you're not doing anything. Was it just for cloud chasing, or was it for PR, or what exactly? Because I've been trying to contact you, and now she said she wants Dangote to come out and speak for himself. She doesn't want to see people representing Dangote Group and all of that. She wants Dangote to speak for himself at this point. Mr. Michael, how do you see this issue?
It's still a developing story, because I'm quite sure more will be done as it concerns the health of that young lady.
Yeah.
It's sad, it's sickening that we have a very young, vibrant lady almost lose her life, but lose one of her limbs, and, well, with what I've even heard, she's indeed not going to be the same, irrespective of whether she works or do not. But even her internal organs were also affected. And coming out to make such promises and not fulfilling them on account of a lady's health, I feel is not the best. Dangote industry should do more to protect their image, knowing that he's the richest man, black or rather African, on the planet. And, you know, such unnecessary reviews will not really help his personality and his company. Please, they should do more. Save the life of that girl.
She said they just keep bringing more paperwork. She's not seen anything. It's more or less they just abandoned her sister there. Dangote, you have the money to do this. If this were to be one of your relatives, I'm sure she won't be in the country by now. Please do what you have to do just to help this girl. This girl was supposed to have a bright future. For somebody that just graduated from the university and was involved in accidents with one of your truck, please, you need to really do something to ensure that this girl, if not get herself back to the way she was, at least 80% close to what she was. Please, Dangote, I know you can do this. Just help us, help Nigerians, help FINA. Thank you very much as you cooperate with us. All right, that's on FINA's issue. So once we get more updates, we'll keep dropping them as soon as they come. So for our fourth story today, from Tron to U.S. jail cell. That is from Tron to the United States of America jail cell. And who are we talking about here? Trending right now as a story that feels like a Netflix series, the Akpetu of Ikpetumodu in Osun State. Oba Joseph Oloyede, has been sentenced to nearly 5 years in the U.S. for COVID-19 fraud, worth over $4.2 million, or he has to repay $4.4 million. Not all. He has to pay it. It's compulsory. He has to pay 4.4 billion naira repayment and also serve nearly 5 years imprisonment in the U.S. So the truth is, I don't really understand why somebody that is supposed to be a leader in Nigeria is now serving a prison term in the U.S. That's a lot. And for COVID-19 fraud, can you just imagine?
Well, it speaks volume of how really corrupt some of our elites are. You could still remember a former deputy senate president and his accomplices. The wife was formerly there, and Emeka Keremadu was still serving a jail term abroad. You know, this goes to talk about our judiciary. Are they up to date with what they need to do? Should we be getting jail terms to these elites overseas rather than having them being also sent to jail here? It's a big question, but you know, this is a show of shame, it's a show of pity, and it's a show of that sometimes our elites do not really take caution as it concerns being honest with funds. COVID-19 funds that would have been made to help persons that were suffering on account of that illness, but were later converted to buy properties. With what we learned, properties were bought with that money, cars were bought.
Exactly.
It's really disheartening.
So,
and speaks a whole lot of volume of how these people think.
This is, let's just tag this as a stealing, because according to the U.S. prosecutors, the monarch and an accomplice filed fake loan applications during the pandemic under schemes like the Paycheck Protection Program and the the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. The scam bagged millions, which he splurged on property, cars, and even a home in Ohio. And people are here suffering, and you decided to defraud the United States government. This is totally bad. Totally, totally bad. I'm sure when he returns back to Nigeria, he won't be able to even look at anybody. Well,
don't be amazed. A lot of persons will be at the airport welcoming him.
Really?
That's how Nigeria is.
This is Nigeria. So the person that sang that song was wrong. This is Nigeria. Well, that's on that. Once we get more updates on that story too, sure, we will update you. So a fifth story here. Big news. Who is trending today on our trending radar? Toke Makinwa. She just welcomed a bouncing baby girl. Congratulations, Toke Makinwa. We are happy that you're excited. We're happy for you. We at Atlantic Media and TV wish you a big congratulations on the birth of your first child. Look at those cute pictures. She looks so cute with her baby bumps. Congratulations, Toke Makinwa. Mr. Michael, do you have anything to say to Toke Makinwa?
We'd like to see the baby's face.
Oh, she has not reviewed the baby's face yet.
Because see who she looks like. Okay.
Okay, I understand where that is coming from, but congratulations, Toke Makinwa. So let's, okay, yeah, you know how I usually take my stroll on the streets of the internet, and I found something shocking. There was this poster I saw. Okay. I initially thought it was an obituary poster. Okay. Let's have it on the screen. So, okay, so it shouldn't look like I'm talking too much. Oh, okay. What do you think this is?
Well, survived by. I can't see any survived by any.
Okay. So I saw this. I thought it was obituary sticker, but here's what it is. With gratitude to God, the entire staff of Wesley Guild Hospital celebrates the inglorious redeployment of a mischievous tyrant, nursing leader, Mrs. Eunice Adekemi Olamijuwon, will be fondly remembered for, as if it's an obituary sticker. Wow. Lies, mischief, high-handedness, arrogance, divide and rule, power drunkenness, power intoxication, disregard and disrespect for elder, fetishism, sadism, witch hunting. Wow. Wesley Guild Hospital is free at last. Glory be to God.
Wow. This is high mischief.
Oh my God, this is terrible, like terrible. So I feel superiors should learn how to treat those under their leadership with respect. Employers, learn how to treat your employees with respect, because what in heaven's name is this?
Well, this seems to be something that is now beginning to trend. And well, anyway, I'm happy. Well, we work, we need to behave well. That's what it means. So at the end, they do not celebrate your obituary, your departure. And you get such unnecessary review right here on Trending. Because I know Mercy would love to talk about it.
I would love to talk about it, definitely. Wesley Goud Hospital, that was a bit mean. Don't you think? That was a bit mean. But that's just for the laughs. So our last story here today. First of all, introduction. So, this song has been staying rent-free in my head since yesterday, since I saw something amazing on the internet. Faust the bad guy. Faust the bad guy. This time around, it's not Faust the bad guy, the rapper, Faust the bad guy, the actor, Faust the bad guy, the comedian, but it's Faust the bad guy, the lover boy.
Oh, I'm happy for him.
So Faust finally introduced his bride-to-be, and the pictures are just so cute. They're so cute, in as much as he tried covering her face, he doesn't want us to see. Well, I can still see some shades of beauty. Faust the bad guy, you carry, I enter market. This is so, so, so beautiful. Congratulations to you. And I hope I get an invite for the wedding. I know I will get an invite.
And I hope she knows she's marrying a bad guy.
Of course she knows, it's not hidden. It's always Faust the bad guy, Faust the bad guy, Faust the bad guy. Your bride-to-be is so beautiful, beautiful. Please just allow us to see her face a bit. I don't know why. Well, I feel she's Nigerian. But one thing, Mr. Michael, why is it that these Nigerian celebrities, artists, singers, or whatever, they're always going outside the country to get married?
Well, but anyway, I could still remember what Burna Boy said on the Mine is not yet married. He said he rather prefers dating a lady outside than in Nigeria, because when you date a Nigerian lady, as he said, I didn't say, you now take responsibility of her.
Okay.
You now take responsibility of her siblings.
Okay.
You now take responsibility of her parents.
Okay.
You might even end up taking responsibility of her hometown. So, well, come on. Who has that money to be taking responsibility of everything? But when you go overseas, you can give a lady a flower. When last did they give you a flower?
But the truth is, did I ask him to go for 4 girls?
Oh, okay.
Did I ask you to go for 4 girls? Go for rich ladies.
Did they even sell flowers in
Nigeria? Yes, they do.
Okay.
And I've received flowers, if that's what you're talking about.
Okay.
I received a lot of flowers. I'm about starting a garden at the back of my house with some of those flowers I get. I don't know why Mr. Michael is coughing. But once again, congratulations to Faust the bad guy. We are happy for you. And I hope I get my invite. Well, this is where we call it a wrap today on Trendy on Viewpoint on Atlantic Media and TV. You know how we do it now. You can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, at Atlantic Media and TV. So thank God it's Friday. Well, yes, finally I can scream it out loud again. Thank God it's Friday. You know how excited I am on Fridays. And the truth is, I don't know why I'm always excited, but I know I'm always excited. So tell me in the comment section, what will you be doing this weekend? Mr. Michael, what will you be doing this weekend?
I'll be busy playing ball.
Okay, playing ball.
With Mr. Kess.
I can't imagine seeing you.
I'll be putting on a red jersey. You'll be wearing a blue one. I can't imagine seeing you on the field playing ball with the front side. Well, it's fine all the way. It's fine. So thank you for staying with us on Viewpoint on Atlantic Media and TV. See you same time next week. Once again, I am Mercy Arable. Have a nice weekend. And I'm Michael Gobadia. Well, do have yourself a lovely weekend. And let's see how I'll do this come on Monday. We'll have another fresh new edition. Bye for now.